Dear students, welcome to the today's chemistry class. We are discussing redox reactions. In the previous class, we discussed balancing of redox reactions by oxidation number method in both acidic medium and basic medium. And also we discussed balancing of redox reactions by ion electron method or off reaction method in both acidic medium and basic medium. So in this class, let us discuss redox reactions. Redox reactions as a basis for titrations. Redox reactions as a basis for titrations. Redox reactions as a basis for titrations. In the chemistry laboratory, we can determine the strength of oxidizing agent and strength of reducing agent by conducting certain titration experiments. For these titration experiments, certain acid-base indicators can be used, like methylene blue, phenolphthalein indicator, etc. And in these titration experiments, redox reactions concept can be used. In the titration experiment, one of the substance undergo losing of electron takes place and another substance undergo gaining of electrons takes place. By knowing the species which undergo oxidation and the species which undergo reduction, we can determine the strength of that oxidant and the strength of the reductant. Such type of titration experiments can be conducted in the laboratory by involving redox reactions. So all titration experiments involves redox reactions. So that is why redox reactions are the main basis for the titration experiments. So titration experiments can be adopted to know the strength of oxidant and reductant by using certain acid base indicators. Let us discuss by taking examples. Number 1, in the titration of potassium permanganate KMnO4 versus oxalic acid or FAS. FAS is nothing but ferrous ammonium sulfate. Oxalic acid is H2C2O4. Now, titration experiment is conducted by taking potassium permanganate versus oxalic acid and ferrous ammonium sulfate. In this titration experiment, potassium permanganate is taken in the burette and oxalic acid and FAS solution is taken in the conical flask. For this experiment, no indicator is added because potassium permanganate itself is pink color. From this potassium permanganate ion MnO4 minus ion itself acts as a self-indicator. When potassium permanganate is titrated against 10 ml of oxalic acid or ferrous ammonium sulfate taken in the conical flask, then at the end point appearance of pale pink color, pale pink color, pale pink color is observed. Appearance of pale pink color shows that from permanganate ion, manganese undergo reduction takes place. In potassium permanganate, manganese oxidation state is +7. So this potassium permanganate KMnO4 containing manganese in +7 oxidation state, when titrated with oxalic acid or FAS, then permanganate, manganese or permanganate is undergo reduced or it acts as a oxidant. Oxidant means oxidizing agent. And oxalic acid, from oxalic acid, C2O4 minus, oxalate ion. Oxalate ions are get oxidation takes place, acts as a reductant. Reductant is nothing but reducing agent. So in this titration experiment, oxalic acid lossing of electrons takes place, acts as a reductant or reducing agent, and potassium from potassium permanganate ion gains electrons from oxalate ions, hence permanganate ion acts as an oxidant. When oxidant and reductant becomes equal, then at the end point, pale pink color is appear in the conical flask. Then titration experiment is completed. So this titration experiment conducted by taking potassium permanganate versus oxalic acid. Here oxalic acid is taken in the conical flask and potassium permanganate is taken in the burette. When potassium permanganate from the burette is allowed drop wise into the conical flask containing the oxalic acid, then at certain end point, after some time in the conical flask, a pale pink color is appeared. It shows that end point. Titration experiment is completed. In that it indicates that manganese +7 oxidation state is converted into the manganese +2 oxidation state. So that means reduction takes place by the permanganate ion and oxidation takes place by the oxalic acid. So here oxidation takes place by the oxalic acid and permanganate ion takes place by the permanganate ion is reduction takes place. So that this titration of KMnO4 versus oxalic acid is a redox reaction, is a redox titration experiment. Since potassium permanganate contains permanganate ion MnO4 minus ion itself is pink colored, so that it acts as a self indicator. No indicator is required for this titration. So this titration experiment involves redox reaction, redox concept, where permanganate acts as oxidant or oxidizing agent, and oxalic acid, or if you take ferrous ammonium sulfate, acts as a reductant, reducing agent. So the titration reaction involving both oxidation and reduction processes. So that this titration experiment is an example for redox reaction. And second example of titration experiment is potassium dichromate K2Cr2O7, potassium dichromate versus oxalic acid oxalic acid or ferrous ammonium sulfate. For this titration experiment, here potassium dichromate, from potassium dichromate, dichromate ions, Cr2O7 2- ions, acts as oxidant or oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent is nothing but the reagent or the substance which gains the electrons. Cr2O7 2- comes from potassium dichromate. In the titration experiment, they act as oxidant or oxidizing agent, and oxalate ions C2O4 2-, oxalate C2O4 2- and is called as oxalate ions, or FAS, ferrous ammonium sulfate, gives ferrous ions, Fe2+ ions. So these oxalate ions are ferrous ions, Fe2+ ions, acts as reductant also called as reducing agent. So in this titration experiment, to identify the strength of oxidant Cr2O7 2- or to identify the strength of reductant or reducing agent, we can use the external indicator diphenylamine. So for this titration experiment, diphenylamine is used as an indicator. So when all the oxidizing agent and all reducing agent strength is predicted, then end point is observed as intense blue color. So intense blue color is observed. So this is the titration of potassium dichromate versus oxalic acid or FAS. This titration experiment also involves redox reactions. So in this redox reaction, in this titration experiment, that is potassium dichromate gives Cr2O7 2- as oxidant or oxidizing agent, and oxalic acid gives oxalate ion, or ferrous ammonium sulfate gives ferrous ions as a reductant. That strength of reductant or oxidant in the titration experiment can be detected, can be predicted by using the indicator called as diphenylamine. When the titration experiment is completed, as a end point, intense blue color is observed in the conical flask. Next, third example is Cl, copper sulfate versus potassium iodide. Copper sulfate versus potassium iodide titration experiment is conducted. Copper sulfate versus potassium iodide titration experiment is conducted by using indicator called as Storch indicator is used. So during this experiment, copper ions, Cu2+ ions comes from copper sulfate, reacts with Iodide ions comes from potassium iodide to form Cu2I2 cuprous iodide plus liberation of iodine gas. Because of liberating the iodine gas, itself gives intense blue color. Intense blue color. Next, in another experiment, the liberated iodine gas is further treated with thiosulfate ions. S2O3 2-. Thiosulfate ions. This thiosulfate ions comes from sodium thiosulfate. Sodium thiosulfite. So the liberated in the first step, in the first titration experiment, copper sulfate is titrated against potassium iodide. From copper sulfate, cupric ions, Cu2 plus ions will come. These cupric ions react with the iodide ions of potassium iodide to form Cu2I2 cupric iodide plus liberation of iodine gas. This experiment is conducted by using indicator called as torch. So that liberation of iodine appears in the form of intense blue color. The liberated iodine gas is further treated with sodium thiosulfite. Sodium thiosulfite means Na2S2O3. Sodium thiosulfite gives thiosulfate ions. Now, blue color, intense blue color iodine gas is further titrated against sodium thiosulfite, which gives thiosulfite ions, so that it forms 2 iodide 2I minus plus S4 SO6 2 minus ions. Now intense blue colored iodine becomes colorless. Means intense blue colored iodine gas when treated with sodium thiosulfite, which gives thiosulfite ions, then because of reduction of now iodine, so the intense blue color disappears and the solution in the conical flask appears colorless. Hagadre, in this total experiment, iodide acts as a oxidant. Means gaining of electrons or reduction process. For this experiment, starch is used as an indicator. So this reaction is also involves a redox reaction concept. So like this, in the redox systems, titrations are adopted to predict the strength of oxidant and strength of a reductant. Such type of redox reactions as a basis for titration experiments can be conducted in the chemistry laboratory to predict strength of one solution with respect to the another solution. We have different types of titration experiments in both first PUC and second PUC practical classes. So like this, for the titration experiments, redox reactions are a basis. Okay, next. Electrode process or electrode potential. Electrode potential. So whenever whenever a metal salt solution like zinc sulfate, 1 molar zinc sulfate is taken into the beaker and zinc metal rod, zinc metal rod is dipped in its salt solution. When a zinc metal rod is dipped into the zinc metal sulfate solution containing Zn2 plus ions. That means in zinc sulfate solution, Zn2 plus ions are present. In that zinc sulfate solution, when zinc metal rod is dipped, then zinc undergo oxidation takes place. Oxidation takes place means zinc loses electrons, and the lost electrons are accumulated at the surface of zinc metal rod, and zinc ions goes to the solution. Zinc ions, Zn2 plus ions goes into the solution. They are positive in nature. So this positivity is due to the presence of Zn2 plus ions. So when the zinc metal rod is dipped into the zinc sulfate solution, means its own salt solution containing its own zinc ions. So then zinc immediately losing of electrons takes place. Oxidation takes place by the zinc to liberate 2 electrons. The liberated electrons are accumulated at one side of the surface of the metal rod, and zinc ions, Zn2 plus ions goes to the solution. In the solution, the positively charged zinc metal ions are accumulated on other side. So because of this electrical double layer, this is electrical double layer. Electrical double layer means accumulation of negatively charged electrons on one side of the surface of metal rod and positively charged zinc metal ions on another side of the metal rod, surface of the metal rod. Because of this electrical double layer, a potential difference is developed. So that potential difference developed at the electrode when the metal rod is in contact with its own metallic salt solution. So ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಮೆಟಲ್ ರಾಡ್ನ ಅದರದೇ ಆದಂಥ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಆವಾಗ ಮೆಟಲ್ ರಾಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಾಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ರಾಡ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆದರೆ ಜಿಂಕ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್, ಮೆಟಲ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ರಾಡ್ ಕಡೆ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಲೇಯರ್, ಈ ಥರ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಲೇಯರ್, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಟ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡ್ ಹತ್ರ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್, ಸಮ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಥರ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಡ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ the potential developed at the electrode, the potential developed at the electrode, when it is in contact with the salt solution containing its own ions is called as electrode potential. So the metal rod is dipped. When potential difference or potential is developed, that is called as electrode potential. So this development of electrode potential at the electrode, if we measure at 298 Kelvin temperature and 1 bar or 1 atm pressure, then it is called as standard electrode potential. Standard electrode potential is denoted by E naught. Standard electrode potential means the potential developed at the electrode when it is in contact with the salt solution containing its own ions at 298 Kelvin temperature and 1 bar or 1 atm pressure is called as a standard electrode potential. Standard electrode potential. Standard electrode potential denoted by E naught. So standard electrode potential means the potential developed at the electrode when it is in contact with the metal solution containing its own ions at 298 Kelvin temperature and 1 bar pressure or 1 atm pressure is called as standard electrode potential. That is the potential developed at the electrode. The potential developed at the electrode, when it is in contact with its solution containing own ions as common ions. Its solution containing own ions at 298 Kelvin temperature and 1 bar or 1 atm pressure is called as a standard electrode potential. Standard electrode potential is denoted by E naught. Standard electrode potential is denoted by E naught. Okay, next slide. Electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells. So electrochemical cells are nothing but the devices in which electricity is produced due to the simultaneous chemical reaction involving both oxidation and reduction processes. Andre electrochemical cell antandre adu device. ಆ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೈಮಲ್ಟೇನಿಯಸ್ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. In that chemical reaction, both oxidation and reduction processes are present. Such type of devices, the devices in which electricity is produced, due to the simultaneous chemical reaction involving oxidation and reduction processes. The devices in which electricity is produced due to simultaneous involving both oxidation and reduction processes. Such type of devices are called as electrochemical devices or electrochemical cells. So electrochemical cells are the devices. Electrochemical cells are the devices in which electricity is produced due to simultaneous oxidation and reduction processes. Due to simultaneous chemical reactions which involves both oxidation and reduction processes. For these electrochemical cells, examples for electrochemical cells are galvanic cells, or they are also called as voltaic cells. Examples for electrochemical cells are galvanic cells or voltaic cells. Galvanic cells or voltaic cells are electrochemical cells. Galvanic cells or voltaic cells are electrochemical cells in which electricity is produced in them due to the simultaneous chemical reactions involving both oxidation and reduction processes. So galvanic cells are the electrochemical cells in which electricity is produced due to the simultaneous chemical reactions involving both oxidation and reduction processes.